My name is Jordan. I am your biggest cheerleader, and welcome to the Your Biggest Cheerleader podcast with me, Jordan. I am so excited that you are here today. I want you to think about a time in your life where things were especially difficult for you and you were just ready to quit. Like, I'm done, I'm out, this is too hard. I'm moving on to something else. I want it to be a time where you wanted this thing so badly, but everything just seemed to just not go in your favor. Yet no matter how hard things got, you persevered and you made it happen. I don't know if you heard that, but a bird just hit my windows. This happens several times daily. Anyway. Anyway, back to this. So, first things first, I want you to pat yourself on the back because you did it. And it doesn't matter how long ago this thing was, or how recent it was, or if you feel like you've already got your due accolades for. Congratulations, dude, you did it. You did it. You deserve the recognition, and you deserve to reminisce about that and feel those feelings again. Now, I can't expect you to get all vulnerable and me just sit here and be like, yeah, you did it. Good job. And then move on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my story. And this story takes place in 2015. I had just started a new job with a new company, new career, healthcare staffing, and they did an annual event, and it was their version of a triathlon. So not a true triathlon, but there's three events. You get the deal. So I have always struggled with my weight. It's been a constant battle my entire life, and that's okay. It's something that I will always have to work on, and that's just something that I'm accepting and really working towards. And so at the time, I wasn't necessarily in any kind of health journey, but this is definitely what started it. And so they're giving us the details of the triathlon, and I'm talking to my coworkers and just trying to kind of feel it out. Like, is this really like a super like athletic event? Can anybody try it and see how it goes? Can you walk it versus run it? Because the three events were you run 3 laps, you bike 4 laps, and then you do some kind of um, obstacle course that involved sand and heavy things and just ridiculous stuff. It wasn't a super lengthy obstacle course, but it was just kind of that final step before you just run across the finish line and then you're done. So, I looked around the room and I started comparing myself to these different people. I'm like, oh, well, if they're doing it, I could probably do it. Or, oof, if they're doing it, man, I don't know if I want to do it because they're going to run circles around me. But at the end of the day, I decided to try. And so I got there, I got to that start line, and I'm like, we're going to take it easy. Slow and steady wins the race. Like, it's going to be fine. So the whistle blows, or however they signified we're starting, I can't remember. Um, they everybody just takes off and I'm just like, oh shoot, okay, so we're doing this. So I just start sprinting as fast as I can to keep up with the pack because I didn't want to be that one person in the back with all the spectators around just like staring, and I was very self-conscious about it. So I took off as fast as I can, and of course, when you're not actively fit or working out or doing anything to really better yourself in that realm, you're gonna putter out really quick, and that's what happened. So I did what I could. I got through the first lap, and I'm just like, oh God. And then here comes one of the leaders. They're already circling me, they're already lapping me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. And I thought I'd have some people that were kind of at my level and like we kind of do it together. And we did for a little bit, but eventually we all just kind of got into our own whatever was most comfortable for us, which wasn't nearby. And so I get through the second lap and then the third lap, and I am just dying. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. What am I doing? Why did I do this to myself? Ugh. And like, it wasn't even so much that, like, yeah, it hurt because, like I couldn't breathe and it was uncomfortable, but I was more worried about what everybody else thought. And I'm just like, ugh, this is great. So I get through my third lap, I get on the bike and I go around. I think I only made it around once, maybe twice, but I can't remember exactly. but you're supposed to do 4 laps on the bike. And I know that I didn't finish the bike segment. So I get around and then I'm back to like the starting area where I would go to do my next lap. And I jumped off the bike, basically like let it fall to the ground. And then, just kept walking. And again, there's spectators there and they're all like, oh, what are you doing? Like, keep going. And I'm just like, I need a minute. I couldn't breathe. And I just kind of like went as far away from that area as I could and pulled out my phone. And I started bawling. I'm just like, I was so upset with myself and just so like, who do you think you are? Like, you thought you could do this, just all those intrusive thoughts are just going through my head. And God, it was just so unfortunate. And I call my mom and I'm just like, Mom, I couldn't even finish. I was so upset. I was devastated, literally devastated. And that was the day I decided that I was done, yo-yoing on the scale and all that stuff. And I decided I was going to start a program. It was a keto program and it was very structured. And I had friends who had done it. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. So literally, the next week was my birthday. And instead of being like, oh, well, I'm just gonna wait, it's my birthday, like, YOLO, I started it on my birthday because that's when all my products came in and everything I needed to get started. So I was like, nope, we're starting on my birthday. We're doing it. Okay, cool. And then that's what I did. So my decision to get started on my wellness journey was not an easy one. For a little bit of context, I started it on my birthday, and which wasn't the best idea in retrospect, but I held strong and I wanted to quit. And me and my husband, we actually do craft fairs and we have a booth. And we were out of town and doing a show. And so we're there, and he had family in the area. So we went to dinner with them the last day we were there before we headed home. And of course, to um, of course, they chose a place where I really couldn't eat anything. I was on a keto journey, so if you've ever done it, there's very limited options. At least there were when this was right when keto really became a huge thing and everyone was doing it. And there weren't a lot of products out there like there are now, other than the food I was paying for through the program I was working. So they took us to a pizza place. And you would think, oh, well, a pizza place should have like a salad or something. So I'm like, yeah, let's go there. That's perfectly fine. Well, I get there and literally no salad. All they do is pizza. That's it. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Like, it's only been 2 days and I'm already in a situation where there's nothing I can eat. Do I just say, screw it, eat, and then start over tomorrow? I was so worried about ruining like the progress. Like, I felt so good about myself and I just wasn't ready to like let go of that. So I went to the bathroom and I just started bawling by myself because like I didn't want to cause a scene in front of, my then boyfriend, now husband, family. I was just meeting them and really getting to know them, and I just didn't want to make it a problem. And so I just went to the bathroom and was so upset and just trying to like figure out how am I going to get through this because I literally sat there and watched everyone around me eat. And while that's okay, it doesn't help when you also have those same people like just have a piece, like I'm sure you're hungry, like just eat, like it's fine. So I just sat there and just like chugged water the whole time, like because it was awkward. You're just like, okay, like how long is this gonna last? So that was one of the biggest obstacles for me. And then when it came to being social and being around other people, um, I don't get this and I never will, and I'm super like cognizant of it now because of what I went through. And I want to be clear, I don't think any of these people had ill intentions or were, trying to screw anything up. It was just the circumstances of where we were and what we were doing. But drinking, when you're on a keto diet, you can't drink. Um, I mean, this is really for any diet, but when you drink, your body stops, burning fat or whatever, and immediately goes to burning the alcohol off because it's like a toxin. They want it needs to get out of the body. So your body completely halts and spends however long it needs to kill that alcohol and get it out of your body. So what that can do, at least the way it's been explained to me by my coaches, is it basically halts your progress for 2 to 3 days or so. before it starts burning fat again. And that just wasn't something I was willing to do. So anytime we'd go out to a bar or, just be social with friends, alcohol's always around. And I'm just like, I would be in such a bad mood because number one, I wanted to drink with my friends and have a good time, but I couldn't. But it was also, certain people that would constantly be like, no, just have one. You're fine. Like, you look so good. You're doing so great. You can have one. Well, one is never one. One leads to two to three to four to five. And then you're like, I don't care anymore. And then you're hungover the next day and upset with yourself because you made that choice. So there was a lot of struggles, and I was just like, maybe I just quit, or maybe I can drink, maybe I can do both. And it took me a while to get to my goal. And when I lost that 80 pounds, and, um, again, obstacles, right? You get all these roadblocks. You're like, "Ugh, what am I doing? I'm just going to quit. Like, am I really happy? Does this make me happy? Is it going to make me happy?" And the answer was yes. Like, I wanted to be healthier. So yeah, for the next 2 years, I am on this weight loss and health journey. And 2 years later, same company, same event, the triathlon, same events, only the obstacle course was just a little bit different. 2 years later, 80 pounds lighter, 1 week before I married the love of my life, I went back out there and I tried again. And I freaking did it. I made it through every portion of that triathlon. And I had a lot of people tell me, well, maybe you shouldn't, like one person in particular, her name's Danielle, and she's just the sweetest. And I haven't talked to her in a long time, so I should probably do that. Um, but her concern was, well, Jordan, what if you fall and you like fall on your face and then you ruin your face for your wedding pictures? And I'm just like, nope, nope, I'm doing this. Like, I've been working so hard the last 2 years. I had gotten into a workout routine, for the last year of that time period, and I was pretty strong, for me, like the strongest I'd ever been in my entire life. And that's saying something. But, like despite, everybody's, it wasn't a lot of, hey, don't do that. But, if anyone was like, no, you shouldn't, or if my brain was like, no, you shouldn't, I was like, yeah, no, forget you. I'm doing this. And I did it. And so why did I tell you that story? And why did I make you, think of a time where you really worked hard for something and how you felt after the fact? And the reason for that is because I want you to remember that feeling. I want you to remember how amazing you felt during that time. And the reason for that is because throughout our lives, we are always going to be working towards something or have goals for something. Once we finish one goal, we are on to the next. And there are going to be times, if you're not going through it right this moment, like I am, that you're going to feel like quitting and just saying, you know what? This is too hard. Everywhere I turn, there's a stop sign, a roadblock, a something, a hurdle to jump over. And I'm ready to quit. Is it worth it? Like, am I gonna make it? Like, why even bother? Like, let's just, close the doors and move on and find something else to do. And in those times where you have all the self-doubt in the world, I want you to think of that story, the story I just told you to think of, where you made it. And I want you to remember how you felt when you made it. Because that story is no different than the story you're living right now or the goal you're working towards right now. Because if you keep going and you're consistent and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, you're going to find that feeling again. So you just have to remember how good it's going to feel and how accomplished you're going to feel. And quitting is one of the easiest things you can do. Imagine what you can accomplish when you keep and stay the course and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you hit that goal that you're looking for. Every goal is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And guess what? You can do it. My name is Jordan. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'll see you next week.